news in Office 365 and the Power Platform. Then we're going to go and have a look at the Message Center to see what incidents we've had over the last 2 weeks. And then we're going to have a look at what's new and changed in the roadmap for Office 365. If you haven't watched these videos before, then the intention behind these is to try and give you all the information you need about what's happening on the Office 365 platform. So what's new over the last 2 weeks, what's changed in the last 2 weeks. So what's currently rolling out, what's about to start rolling out, and then what's currently gone into development. So the benefit of this, it gives you the ability to take this into your own businesses. You know what incidents are likely happening, so you can provide better support to your users. And you also know what's changed on the platform, so you can either prepare your users ahead of time, or you can go and advise them on what they should expect to see going forward. If you're a consultant, then hopefully it gives you the ability to better support your customers. Okay, my name's Mark Stokes, so I work for a company called Atalo Intranet and RedPlane, and I just want to show, we've just launched our new RedPlane website, so just a quick show of that. If you're interested in this and you want to keep more up to date as well, then you can go onto the new RedPlane website. It's www.redplane.co.uk, and you can actually go and sign up for the weekly update email. So if you do that, then every Monday morning you'll get an update with similar items to this, but it's on a weekly basis rather than every other week. So it's very simple. You just go in, you click get the weekly update email, and put in your name and your email address. You can choose whether you're interested in the rolling out and upcoming events, or whether you just want the in-development events, or vice versa, and then sign up. So that will just get you that newsletter. Okay, so if you're interested, please do feel free to have a look at that. Okay, so what we're going to do first, let's go straight into some of the Message Center items. There's not an awful lot today, so I'm hoping we'll only be about half an hour. So at the moment, now bear in mind these Message Center items are for my own tenant, so you may see something slightly different, but it should give us a good view of what's currently happening on the platform. So first of all, we'll look at, there's one current incident which is going on right now, and that is search and offline availability option unavailable in the SharePoint Online Admin Center. So admins may be unable to see or access the search and offline availability option in the SharePoint Online Admin Center. Closed, so we've had 20 items closed in the last 2 weeks, so 20 incidents. So there's some issues with calling and presence issues in Skype for Business. There's an issue where users were unable to open Office Online attachments from a shared mailbox in Outlook on the web. That's now been restored. There's an inability to play Office 365 videos. 0-hour auto purge was delayed. The users may have noticed some messages were not being automatically moved to the junk folder after delivery. You notice some of these maybe have gone on for a couple of days. This one went on for 2 days, so you may have had some support issues around this. There was an issue in SharePoint Online where there was an inability to add attachments to list entries. Also, some users were unable to access the Office 365 admin portal. That went on for about 12-13 hours by the looks of it, so you may have seen some of those issues. Users unable to access the Exchange Admin Center. Then that went on for a few days, from the 9th of August, actually the date of the last session, on to the 13th, so there may have been some ongoing issues there you may have seen. Devices incorrectly flagged as out of compliance. So if Microsoft Intune, you may have had some issues between the 13th of August and the 15th of August, where users may have experienced devices being flagged as being out of compliance with the device health attestation policies. Sign in and Yammer feed issue. So users may have been unable to sign in or load their feed within the Yammer service. Device management link not appearing in the admin center in Microsoft Intune. So it sounds like Intune's had a few little bugs and issues over the last couple of weeks. Exchange Online, Outlook client connectivity issues in specific scenarios. The users with multiple enterprise sign-in accounts can't connect to Exchange Online via the Outlook desktop client. I most certainly felt this one myself. Can't use Office add-in Outlook for Android. Some search and login issues for Yammer. It looks like there's been some back-end work going on in Yammer that's maybe caused a couple of features to go offline. Yammer Enterprise, again, users are unable to sign in. Went on for a few hours. An ability to enroll Android work profile devices. So again, Microsoft Intune. So Intune's definitely had some problems. Microsoft Teams, external access tab in Teams Admin Center not loading. Can't attach OneDrive for Business or SharePoint Online files on Outlook Desktop. That was an Exchange Online issue. And inability to view or set up Azure Active Directory connector sync properties. Again, Microsoft Intune. SharePoint Online, so between the 19th and 22nd of August, there might have been some inability for users to access SharePoint Online sites. And again, the 22nd, so for about 4 hours, inability in Office 365 portal to access, upload, or live stream with Office Video and Microsoft Stream. There the items have been closed. We do have quite a few awareness ones, so I'm not going to go through these yet. There's 129, so I'm still trying to find a better way to bring them to you. In fact, actually, now we've gone through Message Center, one thing I did want to go over is just a couple of news items. There's a few things that I found over the last couple of weeks that might be of interest to you. There's not really been a lot around Office 365, so most of the changes and updates I've found are really around the Power Platform. So I'd like to go and have a look at what they are. So in Microsoft Flow, something to be aware of, the Office 365 Outlook connector is getting some changes. Okay, so what happens here is every so often, if I just switch to my screen share, every so often Microsoft releases updates. So they always try to not break your existing actions in Flow and your existing connectors, but sometimes they do some work on the back end that actually causes some breaking changes. So one of those you need to be aware of is the Office 365 Outlook connector. So basically pretty much all of the actions here are going to be replaced. So if I just scroll down and have a look, and this may break some of the old original V1 and V2 actions. So if you are currently using them, then you need to actually go in and have a look and replace them with the new actions that are coming out. So it's quite a lot. Pretty much all of them are being affected. So if you do use the Office 365 Outlook connector, please do pay some attention to this and go and rectify your flows accordingly. There's also a unified action center in Microsoft Flow. So what they're doing, they've brought together the approvals view and also business process flows view. So it might be a bit small for you to see on this screen, but basically what's going to happen is under a new setting on the left hand side called action items, you'll see all the approvals that you are involved in, and also you'll see all the business process flows that you are a part of. And so that hopefully brings a bit of a more useful view on the items that require attention. Going into Power Apps, there's a few updates for Power Apps over the last couple of weeks. So there's some changes to provisioning and administration updates. So this is basically giving you the ability to provision multiple environments. We can now create environments without Common Data Service. So if that's a feature you don't want to be in your environment, then you can create it without CDS. Change. There's also simplifying formulas with the with function. This is going to be really useful. Quite often I write some really complex formulas such as this, and what Microsoft's doing now, they're releasing a new component in the formulas called with. So basically we can essentially set variables on some of our components of our formula, so R, P, N. And then at the end, we can actually then just go and create a more streamlined formula that's hopefully easier to read. Now, this is going to be quite complicated for the average user, so it's probably the developers or the more techies that might find this more useful. But for the people who do get the head around it, I think this will actually be very useful. We can even nest, by the looks like we can even nest our with formulas as well, so that's going to be really useful. Okay, preview for usability enhancements to lookups in the unified interface. So they're providing some more consistency on lookups within Power Apps, so that should be quite nice. and some SharePoint delegation improvements. I'm really looking forward to this one. If you are familiar with delegation issues well, not issues, but delegation constraints in Power Apps, then we're going to get some benefit here. So essentially what this means is for some of the filters that we do on our data sources in Power Apps, some of those filters actually are applied on the client side. So we'd be limited to 500 to 2,000 records in some of our functionality. We see this when we do things like email comparisons, where the email address on a SharePoint list item is equal to my email address. So there's been some architectural changes, and those filters have been moved to the back end. So that means that we have a lot more items available. So hopefully those delegation warnings become either a thing of the past or certainly less intrusive to our applications. Have the ability to share Canvas apps with guests in our organization. This one's going to be huge. Really excited about this. So I have a number of customers with Power Apps that we built for them, and they want to certainly engage their guest users into their Power Apps. So this one's going to be really, really welcome. Okay, so they're the news items that I've found. So what we can do now is we can just go straight over to the roadmap, and let's have a look at what's changed in the roadmap over the last 2 weeks. Okay, so first of all, there's been no items cancelled in the last 2 weeks, which is good. So we'll look at all the new items in the launch category over the last 2 weeks. We'll zip through these reasonably quickly. The intention here is not to give you full information on what they all mean, but just to call out the items. So then some of them have a link at the bottom you can follow if you watch the video back, but it's just to raise some awareness. So if there's anything that's of particular interest to you, you can go off and look about them afterwards. We'll zip through them, read most of the titles, and then hopefully that gives you the overview that you find useful. As I said before, please do get in touch with me if you think this format works. Let me know if you think I can change the format to make it more useful, maybe group by technology or something like that. Please do let me know so I can revise it in the future, but hopefully this format works for now. Okay, so what has launched in the last 2 weeks? By launch, that means that it should now be available and visible in all tenants around the world. So, what's launched? Now use larger, more flexible image types to upload your company logo in the Office 365 navigation bar. Basically what this means is in the navigation bar where we put our company logo in, that now means that we can actually put higher quality images in there just to give a greater fidelity and a better experience. So that's quite nice. Office Online Account Manager is getting updated. Interestingly, I don't see this in mine yet, but if you go into the My Account experience, then this is going to be updated somewhat. So hopefully that's a better experience. So far, it looks pretty similar to me, so I'm not seeing that at the moment. Never mind. New help and support pane from the Office 365 navbar. This is quite nice. I hadn't noticed this was in here, but if we go into one of our SharePoint sites, we can now hit the help navbar, and we'll have a much more complete and a much more rich help and support capability in here. Whoopsie daisy. Back down. So we don't try and drag and drop the elements. So we can search help easily. I think the intention is to bring more contextual help in here and things like that. So that's quite nice. Microsoft put a lot of good work on the help and support I'm finding compared to the SharePoint documentation we used to have. Outlook Calendar is getting some enhancements to the Places API. So the Places API will allow you to get all the information about rooms and room lists like devices, floor and capacity. That should be helpful when we're looking to book meetings. Outlook on the web is getting suggested attachments. So now Outlook will suggest relevant files that you can attach when you respond to an email, and you click on the attach paperclip drop. This has already been getting some love. I've been really enjoying or appreciating the recent files that this shows lately. So I can actually easily pick the most recent file or files that I've been working on. So hopefully that's going to get some extra machine learning to be a bit more intelligent. A recycle bin for Microsoft Stream videos. So a lot of people are probably going to get quite excited about this. I'll get excited when we get a recycle bin for Power Apps. But what that basically means now is if we go into Stream, into my videos, I can actually now delete a video from Stream. And then I have this new option here called Recycle Bin. I can go in here, I can see my deleted videos, and I can actually go and restore that video. I don't want that to play in the background. So that is very, very, very welcome. Thank you, Microsoft, for that one. Okay, so that's everything, all the new items that have launched over the last 2 weeks. So let's go and look at the items that are rolling out. Now, this isn't all of the items that are rolling out as we speak. These are the items that have gone into a status of rolling out over the last 2 weeks. So if you watch this video every other week, then you'll get a full view of what's actually there. Okay, so these are the new items that you need to be aware of. Hopefully, if you watched last week's, you'll have seen the new items there. Okay, so what's new? We've got 26 of these. So enabling modern authentication for managed tenants. So if you are in a managed tenant, then you're getting some modern authentication. That's something we've been enjoying for a while. SharePoint and Teams folder in site visibly connected to channel. So this is an interesting one. I can't see this now. I wanted to demo it, so it's not in my tenant yet. But it's going to make it easy or easier when you're in SharePoint to view which folders in the document library are associated to a Teams channel and chat associated to it. So if you are navigating Teams-based content from within SharePoint itself, it should be more visible what you're working with and what's actually part of a team. Microsoft Teams, external access, and Office 365, government, GCC, High, and DoD. Now, we're going to see a lot of items here are associated to government, GCC, High, and DoD, so it may not be relevant to an awful lot of people, but I think there's a lot of work on catching these platforms up to what the rest of us have had for a while. So carrying on, Microsoft Teams screen sharing in Teams and Skype for Business interop capability. So if you are in Teams and you're having a meeting with people in Skype for Business, then you're going to be able to do a screen share across those two technologies. There's going to be popular around me files. So the shared with me view in OneDrive for Business is going to start showing more intelligent popular around me. So again, using the power of Delve in the Office Graph, this is going to show items that my colleagues and people I'm close to in the business are working on. There are improvements to the Threat Explorer for better hunting experience. My area, so I won't talk too much about that, but I'm sure that's of interest to a few people. 6 powerful new functions are rolling out. Okay, not the most descriptive item we've ever had in the roadmap, but we're digging a little bit further then. For Excel Online, getting 6 new functions to use in Excel, to use with dynamic arrays to supercharge your spreadsheets. So dynamic arrays, again, the ability to filter, sort by unique sequence and rand array. So I think that's random array. So that's also coming to Excel on the desktop for Windows, and also into Excel Windows Universal, also into Excel Android, and also into Excel for iOS, and also into Excel for the Mac. So now for Excel on the Mac, dynamic arrays, you can use one formula that can return multiple values. So now you can quickly type a formula that returns multiple values, and they'll automatically spill into the neighboring cells. I use Excel quite a lot. I do a lot of modeling of processes, business data. So this, I think, could be really quite useful. I look forward to this. That's also coming to Excel for iOS, also coming to Excel Online, and that's also coming to Windows Universal, and that's also coming to Excel for Android. Windows Desktop. Okay, so Outlook for Android is getting a more detailed contact information card. OneDrive for Business, comments and notifications on non-Office files. So at the moment we can just do comments and associate notifications on Office files. So this is now coming to things like PDFs, CAD drawings, etc., etc. So that would be really useful. We use that quite a lot here internally. OneDrive Mobile is getting an updated recent view, so the recent files experience is getting an update. We're getting an updated UI for PDF annotations in OneDrive for Business. OneDrive for Business is getting an updated design in the iOS app, so it will look more like the other Office apps. We're getting some updated an updated settings interface for OneDrive mobile app in iOS. The settings page is going to get some love. And we're getting some enhanced filtering connectors. This is for Exchange Online, so if you have complex mail routing setups, then we're going to get some updates to allow some more enhanced filtering capability. And Teams meeting recording tab, so you can easily locate your Teams meeting recordings with a new Meetings tab in Stream. Now, obviously, we don't see that. I don't see that in mine at the moment, so in my content, I don't currently have that at the moment, so if we see that when it goes to launch, then I'll try and demonstrate that one to you in the future. And that's it. So that's all the new items that have started rolling out in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so where are we at? So in development, so what new items have gone into development over the last 2 weeks? Again, remember, this isn't all of the items that are currently in development. These are just the new items that have started in development over the last 2 weeks. So Microsoft Teams phone system is launching for GCC High and DoD. A lot of these are GCC High and GCC DoD, so I think there's a lot of work going on here. So those guys are probably quite interested in this. So audio conferencing via direct routing. Microsoft Teams cloud voicemail enhancements. So if you are using telephony with Microsoft Teams, there'll be some voicemail enhancements coming through. Office ATP Air exposing investigation data through the Management Activity API. SharePoint Migration Tool is gaining support for SharePoint Server 2010 migrations. Microsoft Forms will be available for the Department of Defense. Advanced eDiscovery single item error remediation. Outlook for Android, location, meeting time, and the ability to RSVP and notifications. So when you get the notification for a meeting, then you'll see the location, meeting time, and you'll also be able to do the RSVP directly from there. Microsoft Planner is coming to Government DoD. My Analytics dashboard is coming to more Microsoft 365 Government and Government Suite and Office 365 Government Suite, so that's being rolled out more across the board. Again, Government, My Analytics Email Digest is coming to more of those tenants. There's some automatic phishing detection for enterprise in org forms as well. So Microsoft Forms that you make available anonymously, there's going to be some increased phishing detection going on there. And some recommendation to reuse historical forms in Microsoft Forms. So what happens is when you start to type in the forms title field, then Forms will go and look at your previous forms and maybe suggest some questions that you've used. So if you create the same form over and over, maybe a review form or something like that, then it may detect if you do the same types of forms and offer suggestions or questions that may be useful. Outlook for Windows, the calendar sync protocol is transitioning to the REST API. So probably won't really see much there, but in the back end, hopefully that makes a nice difference. Per site anyone link expiration policy. So we've seen something along these lines before, but tenant admins will have the ability to set custom anyone link expiration policies on all site collections that differs from the default tenant policy. So just trying to control, if we share a document with anybody anonymously, try and control how long that is available. And lastly today, so there'll be a short one, we're about 25 minutes, an updated feature, reset password in the Microsoft Office 365 Admin Center. So the reset password is going to get an update, so it supports 256 character maximum password length. And that's it, and that's all of the changes that we have at the moment. So it certainly feels like we might be in a bit of a holiday period. There's a lot of work going on government at the moment, in Excel. Those teams are quite busy at the minute, but hopefully there's a lot there for us to have a look at, and that's of use to you. So, like I say, please do go onto the Redplane website, www.redplane.co.uk. Please do register for that email update if you're interested in, and then every Monday morning you'll get the new updated items, the new rolling out items, and the new in development items. And then we've got a lot more coming that I'd like to share with you soon as well. So I hope that was useful for you. Please do let me know, and please feedback to me either on Twitter at Mark Stokes or in the comments below. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, and then I can change the format accordingly. But short one today. Hopefully that's of use, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much.